Hello, wonderful folks. Welcome back. As you know, this is the second section of the experiment with the vertex bone, the mysterious vertex bone. Basically, if you haven't followed before, here is what that means. Basically, we're trying to assign here single vertex. This is why it's low poly experiment, because it's much easier to do this, but I still want to have some organic results. Okay, so you have the subdivision surface modifier. This can cause some complications, but also it helps shaping more organically with lesser amount of vertices, right? Besides the show smooth shadow, that thing, right? You know, for object shade smooth, yeah. So the idea is that each deformed bone, the vertex deformed bone, should contain a full wave on a single vertex. Of course, I'm expanding here, and this is probably a mistake, and I already found that in this case, it will be better to have more control. So you see, soon enough, this can become a nightmare, if not nightmare, but very hard work in terms of the amount of, because wave painting here is piece of cake, right? There's no mystery if you understand the logic. We are not trying, however, to have blended waves, shared waves between two separate bones, because, well, we can have, like we have this vertex here is sharing with this and this, particularly on that vertex. But as long as these bones are not, it's not a joint region, and furthermore, as long as these bones are not rotating, usually they rotate in sync with the transforms that I have on the control rig. But sooner or later, this can be a problem, because you see they are rotating. But anyways, so there's a series of things that we need to take into account. But the idea of doing this essentially is to get rid of skinning artifacts. This is not a skinning artifact, but this is not a skinning artifact because this is actually is just vertices moving without this intersection of blended waves, shared waves. And so these vertices, they are moving as if it were a shape key, in the sense that the shape key, you put the vertices exactly where you want in the end. We might not have a good control of the interpolation with shape keys. We need additional features on the shape key. It can render shape keys very complicated to make, and very inefficient in that sense to build. But because these are bones and no shape key, it's as this bone this vertex deformed bone corresponds to a shape key, and it will not morph, but it will deform these vertices in a very controllable way, way more controllable, because the vertices are truly following the bone. Like there's, for some reason, there's some delay that I cannot explain here, because I don't think we have shared waves here. Yeah, maybe it's because just of the, yeah, that's it. It's because of the, you see, so this is why it's tricky to use the subdivision surface modifier, but essentially we are getting the thing. So no skinny artifacts here, but we'll have to, the challenge here, besides to have a single vertex bone for each single vertex, or at least we can group vertex like I did here. And as long as these bones, they move together, if they rotate, as long as they rotate together, see, they have the same orientation, it doesn't matter they have this. Of course, if then for some reason, I will avoid at all costs doing any kind of rotation, but if we do this and then we do this, this could start to build some artifacts there in that vertex. So skinning artifact, right? So but this will not a joint read. Yeah, it's almost a joint read, but it's not like it's in this direction. So it's not the same thing as we would have here, right? This kind of angle. So the thing is that, so we're gonna try to solve this by reposition the bones strategically. And of course, if we try to do this correcting skinning artifacts, it's a bit the same thing here. It's similar in some way, but because of the aberration of the skinning artifacts, how the skinning algorithms are crap, like Stone Age rigging techniques, right? So because they are so problematic that maybe sometimes we could just avoid them. That could be better. But I don't expect this technique, this method, that experimental method, to be used on a big, high density or even mesh. Yeah, like probably it's a low poly technique, but it probably can be expanded, but then of course it will be as much as work, because the real problem here now is the automation. And I don't have a system here to solve the deltas yet. The delta is the diagonal, because yeah, another critical rigging problem. If we want to have good rigging, skinning, right, we need to make that, because the software is dumb, it's overly analytical. That's good in one part, bad in other parts. So the thing is that this will be the leverage up on a diagonal mostly. Let's see, let's do this like this. No, it's not like this. Hold on. I don't have a pole target here. I don't even have an IK bone constraint. This is making things a bit more hard for me. So let's just make this freaking IK bone constraint to simplify the process right now. It'll be better for posing this experiment. So we can get a pole target. Why not? Yes, pole target also will help. Because I could solve this with inverse kinematics panel for these bones, but it's I don't have the mindset right now to do that. So it's simple, but it's annoying. Okay, so we want. Okay, let's create a bone here, and that's it. So it will be pole leg left, and we can symmetrize. Then we don't need to parent. Yeah, let's parent this to the root for now, and then let's add them. Empty could be a sphere right there, and I call this widget. Yeah, like that. I don't know. So empty sphere, and then we can hide this, and then we can get this, and empty sphere, and then we can change this, and then we can Control L, no, Control C, bone shape, yes, that's it. And also it's not over. Let's get them some color, like yeah, like who knows. Left and right. I don't know which. There are many options here, but this works. Right. Also, let's do this just for now, right? So for this organization. Okay, so now we have the key bone constraint to be completed. This it's temporary. I'm not sure I'm gonna use this in the end, but it's infinite. Yeah, no. In this case, we're just gonna need 2 for the test here. Okay. Apparently, there is something that is going wild. It's a poll target, of course. Yeah, didn't change. Okay, negative 90. Strange. Okay, so for some reason it doesn't matter this position apparently. Okay, at least we have a full target. This helps a little. Okay, so the also let's symmetrize here, right? Yeah. So a delta bone can be built for that. I have 2 strategies here to find the delta. And I was intrigued by one particular crazy idea here, in which why if we have why not making this I'm not sure it's gonna work, but we can try. Why not? This is experimental. Shift D, yeah, we're gonna have an extra one. We're gonna Control R Y 45. No, Control R Y. It's on local, I guess, and negative. Okay, so now I have an extra mechanism type bone that has a diagonal axis. So it has double X, but actually one is for the original bone, and this one is the diagonal. So the idea here, I'm not sure this is gonna work, but it's intuitively it sounds plausible, because now I can indicate this direction of rotation for an x-axis that is in the diagonal, but for another target bone, right? That mechanism bone, not the same. But the fact is that if we check here the 2 bones, I have to change also this one. Let's make it into a B bone. So the secondary, yeah, it doesn't make too much sense, but the thing here is that they might have different transforms. Now they are moving on local space, so that doesn't really help, but there might be a way to address their state. Currently it's secret. We're gonna have to look at a certain driver thing, I guess. Let's see here. Yeah, it is 0, but let's use the rotation of the yeah, I'm recreating the stuff. Oh, hold on. It's not necessarily the x-axis that we want. Let's start building for this one first. So this one, yeah. So I want its x-axis, yeah. So no, actually, it is not what I need. It's not what I need. Yeah, this is wrong. You see, they have the same. Oh, this is dangerous. Yeah, because as the other is trying to follow, this one is trying to, it shouldn't replace. So we need something like, we need an addition. So as you see, nothing like this is where, of course, the parenting is going nuts. I don't think anything like this will change anything. So I think before original, maybe we go to fake parenting. All right. So maybe this is not doing anything, but well, the important thing is that we see that this star of axis there, it's being maintained, right? So that is good enough. Yeah, the parenting relation does well enough. The problem is that with the parenting relation alone, for the way I've done these mechanism bones, they won't serve as a buffer bone. So you need to stack the bone constraint anyways, on top of a parenting relation. Yeah, just works. I checked. Otherwise, we take off the parenting relation, right? So now we have these two bones. We can actually say diagonal, and we can, and this is, yeah, something like this is fine now. And then we're gonna symmetrize that. It doesn't matter too much now. Also, let me make sure we got the chat here. Hold on. Making sure we get to the chat. Yes. Oops. All right. Back here. So this, now we have to use another bone. Like, we don't need to look at this anymore. We're gonna look for the deformed bones, but I'm gonna just pick one bone that matters for this freaking development here. Let's remove this thing. Selection set. I just want to work on this bone for now, for experimental reasons. So we're gonna call this pelvis one bone. Yeah. So assign. Actually, we're gonna get this. Just in case, we're gonna pick all the bones that matter for this leg, right? And assign. There we go. And now we can hide the stuff. No, it didn't work. I forgot this one. There we go. So see, it's deformed, tied upper. It's around this edge ring. And it it can control just 4 vertices there. We could reduce this, right? But so far, those vertices, right? 4 vertices there in the front. We could have a side, outside, in, but we could have a different face. But this is the way I've decided to make this leg for the shapes. Usually I use a 3 and 4 faces. For me, it's too less. Although 3, it could work. It's very weird, but it can work. But then we have some problems with yeah, it's very weird, but for skinning, but mysterious things happen with 3 faces regarding skinning artifacts. But then we lack more control on the geometry, even with the subdivision surface modifier high. 4 is too squarey, and so 8 is too much, so instead 6, like we have exactly not in the front, although it could be useful, but I decided to put at the sides because of this particular edge loop here, and also for the middle part because of the crotch. So it's important. I found more important the outer and inner area than the front and back area, although this is certainly debatable. But for me, this is what I found out for shape and skinning on relatively low poly. This is even more low poly than I used to do because this mesh topology is different. I'm not trying to make a mesh topology to help on the skinning algorithm exactly the conventional way, because I'm avoiding the skinning algorithm to artifacts through this experimental method. Hello, Rick Swifty, welcome. Don't remember your name. Maybe you're new to the channel. Welcome anyway. So okay, I will continue here with the proper thing. So I need to keyframe in order to facilitate the process here. So I'm gonna make a test pose. Yeah, testing. Okay, so I'm gonna keyframe just the bones that matter here. So I think I just need to keyframe this one. Yeah. And I have this location, but I'm gonna take this out. It's okay, keyframe here. Then we're gonna, to simplify, we're gonna bring this to 100, and we're gonna bring this here. I'm gonna start with the front. Forgot also to keyframe the pole target. And then I need to change the pole angle again, but that's fine. Then we reset here and keyframe here. Okay. Yeah, all right, this should be enough, but I don't know why the rotations are going so weird here. Yeah, but it doesn't matter too much. We'll be able to manipulate this mesh here, this bone, vertex bone here, so, and see if we can make that delta out of this system. So first thing, we gonna reproduce the motion, right? It could be an action bone constraint, which sounds most likely, but I was having problems. I couldn't solve that yet. So let's just use this method here. It could be, we can use the simpler way, although it's not that simple as well, but I'm more familiar with. So we're gonna use the transformation bone constraint, and we're gonna target the mechanism, armature, and then the mechanism. I've learned that the action bone constraint doesn't solve deltas on its own. So apparently it cannot blend exactly. And the reason why it cannot, well, it can, but it's not sufficient, because the thing is that it targets a bone. And that's why, because it targets a bone, an axis of a bone, an axis of rotation. So it doesn't, it would be either the x-axis or the z-axis rotation, for example, and that leads to this analysis that is stupidifying, and then there is no in-betweening. There is no understanding of the diagonal axis, which corresponds to the delta in these particular cases here. So mechanism. So now I have, however, I have two bones So that means that I need to make another transform for the delta, but it will be similar to this one, except the axis. Where is this bone? Okay. Okay, this is what something that we want. We see we have an extra bone there that sounds wrong. We're gonna just clean this out. Okay, then we can use the local space. Okay, get the rotation quaternion. Then we have yeah. So the rotation, I think it's negative. So we want maybe this. No, actually, yeah, I think it will be this. And then we map to location. We want the x, x, x. We want the can't we use this? No, but they will synchronize. They will all converge. Yeah, because we cannot use this. We need another one of these bound constraints, I guess. Yeah, I already thought about that separately. Because if I have the x rotation going to the x, yeah, the location, and then I have the z rotation, the side bending of the leg, corresponding to, yeah, I'll be having to use the same y, for example, and it's already in use. So, but actually that could stack. Interesting. But it all work as an addition, I guess. But could work, right? Ah, but it's just one. Yeah, it's just one. We can't. It would be if I could use another axis, like this will be x, and like I can't do x and z, right? It's so that, okay. Unless the bone needed could move. Yeah, but it needs the same axis to move. Okay. Anyways, this is okay. Then it's negative. Minimum here is negative, so you get the minimum is where we want it to move forward. Let's see the axis. Apparently it's the negative z based on the x rotation there, so the negative z minimum, so that is where it needs to go. So this is a lot. Let's try this. And so apparently it's not responding. Is it keyframed? Yeah, so probably it's the parenting problem. Or maybe let's investigate. Is there? Maybe it's that. Yeah. So yeah, it's negative x. Oh, I see. So the minimum XX add replace. No, add is fine. Okay. Okay. So why did I get this wrong? Minimum. I think this is incorrect. It is doing this crazy thing. Yeah, this shouldn't be the right thing anyways. But now it's responding, right? Here nothing happens. Yeah, apparently it's this one indeed. So it should be here. We see that the bone is going nuts. Maybe this Blender version that is completely bugged out, not polished enough. I see a lot of bad things happening already, the unexpected behaviors. Why is this jumping like crazy? Okay, so apparently, yeah, this thing is, does this have a driver maybe? No? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Maybe it's just this creepy mechanism bones. Yeah, it's causing some conflict. Let's see if they are following in the same way. Yeah, it seems to be. Ah, no, there is one that is not working. This one. Okay, let's just then ignore that. And maybe just parent to. Yeah, I think that will work. The parent is onto the other mechanic bone. And this parent will just follow the, yeah, the state as it is, although this would yeah, will be problem. Yeah, it looks like problem. So we're gonna make a double, and this one we're gonna so the previous one is a buffer bone, and it will intake the position through parenting, and then this one will pick the positions transforms to the pathway of transforms here. So now this one is sensitive to, this one is not sensitive to catch, to provide the bone data, but this one is, because it is bringing these transforms into play of this one. Because if I use this full copy transforms replace, it will change the axis. It will bring to the original, which is this one. And I don't want this actually to preserve this also. This one is parent to the original one. This one is have a copy transforms as a buffer bone to, so this one is gathering the data from the control bone, which you barely see here, but it's here. Then this one is just parent relation to this. It doesn't need to be to the buffer bone, to the other. It could actually be okay. There is no parent here, I guess. Yeah, let's leave it like this. I think it will work anyway. So for now, that should make this rig stop going nuts, because I think something was happening, not because of my system here, but because of, usually here I like to do something like this. Yeah, and still nothing happening. Okay, so we see this is incorrect. So I think it's really minimum with minimum. Okay, this should be the correct thing. Ah, now it's good. Okay, so yeah, it was probably the parenting that was going nuts. I had to revise the buffer bones there, mechanism bones. They're always complicated. Okay, so we have one automation here, and now the problem is that if I start to move this here, we'll see that the bone retains a lot of transformation. But how? What am I doing different here that this seems to maintain the... Now, if I raise this down, this is correct, the bone goes back. So white is retaining the X. Okay, let's go for the other thing here, which is keyframing the side bending, outer side bending. More like this. So now we see that it's not applying, right? Ah, it's an annotation. Okay, so now the bone is not moving. We're gonna make so this transformation X. We want the transformation Z or Z, and this is still the same bone. And now let's make sure we get, yeah, that's just something. Now we're gonna change this. I think it will be still a negative Z rotation. Yeah, so now we see this where this goes, or so this is working, but we still need to verify. Yeah, we could make an in-between, right? But it's not so clean, right? So actually, we're gonna have to do something else. Okay, why this thing? What is missing? It's all there. Okay. Okay, simple stuff then. So from here, we want to find a delta. Very exaggerated one. There we go. Okay, so this is the delta. Now let's see what this bone is doing. It's okay, it's doing both stuff. And this is where this kind of stuff is not usually it's not good enough, right? Because it's very not ignoring the rest, because this problem of the delta to affect every single transform and every single bone that would move like this also. This is just one case, and so at first glance, okay, it's doing in a pose like that, it's indeed doing this, which okay, it's a corrective, exaggerated on purpose, but to see if that works. Yeah, we can see, however, can try to see, yeah, it's a lot from the X. And the problem, what is annoying me, is that I cannot see from the driver. I think can see, but here I cannot see the actual transform of the bone. This is horrible, right? It doesn't help me understand how much it is moving, right? It's but okay. I didn't expect this delta to be having that much effect here. As we go to this one, the effect of the x is zero basically, but here it is, the z is a lot, right? And when we have here the effect on the x is a lot, but the effect on the z is zero. So when we come to the delta, here we have an addition, and this addition is actually detrimental to the final result because it's illogical. It's not the if we could draw this as some sort of an abstract curve, a smooth transition, this would not be a good curve. Let's say if we could say transition as a curve, it wouldn't be a good transition. It would be something awkward, and that doesn't it's not realistic, it's not natural, it's not organic, so it's stupid. So this is where, this problem here, it creates this addition that now I cannot unmake. And this is a problem now because my plan, if using this, it could happen also because of the action bone constraint. My problem here is that with that extra bone that I've made so far, is that I was expecting to not have both of them sort of lower out at this position, the delta pose, the diagonal pose, and by having it so low, I would have this extra bone to do the, let's say, still some addition, but a more regular addition, but now it turns out that I can't do this because it will stack more stuff here. So I have to, I don't want to even think about that but too much, but I have to diminish these ones just to create when the bone reach this position. Blender doesn't understand what is this position. So I cannot directly tell it. But there is another way that is, so this was unfortunate. There might be a workaround. I was assessing one, but I think I'm gonna destroy this setup here because it seems that it's not gonna work. At least can't find. I found the sort of dead end because of the addition. However, there is a way that I've already attempted, which is to create a delta bone. And the delta bone, I've checked on one of my files where I've made the delta bone, and yeah, just here to make it more intuitive, but so this will be the there's a delta icon. Well, delta base, and it's not necessary the delta base, but it's a reference in space, so it's nice. And delta bone. They don't need to be here. They can go elsewhere. Okay, so the delta bone can actually intake the product thing. So I'm making a transformation through a driver, a specific product transformation through a driver. We can decide which transformation we want to do this product. I tend to prefer the location because rotation, radians, degrees is confusing, and scale is also pretty confusing because yeah, it starts on 1, not 0. So the Y location, of course. So we're gonna add the driver. We're gonna make a target here of the unique mechanism bone here for X rotation, quaternion local space, and then can I copy paste this? Yes. So and here, so this is rot X, and here is rot Z, and here we just change to Z rotation, and you see there's a bit of each of them, and so var, no, it's rot X times rot Z, and there is a thing here that abs rot Z, that is normalization, that's absolute, it's like always positive, and this because of yeah, we could do more here, of course, but there's a min max that someone told me, a friend, yesterday, by the way, and now I know. I'm not sure how it would work here, but it will be like, if it's like the transformation bone constraint, and so here we see that the value, they are multiplying. Well, oh yeah, it's being negative because of the absolute. If you take off the absolute, then it's a positive. I can't explain right now why this, but it's because the leg needs to be okay. Apparently, it's not doing what I. Yeah, like it's going in the negative, but I was thinking. Well, it doesn't really matter the direction the bone goes. The value matters. It's just let's flip it around and whatever. We're gonna align also here. No. Why I flip it sounds a bug. Okay, so yeah, it is very weird. Yeah, this Blender is so crazy. So it wasn't like that. So lots of bugs to fix. Okay, so what we got here is now the bone is okay, so what the bone is doing is that it is growing, right? It is going up. And so here we see that this part we have a lot of X and Z, and so this goes, the bone goes very much of course. How to use this bone now I'm gonna show in a moment. So we see here that this is just the X. We could exaggerate this a little more. I would expect it to go up more, but this sounds not very good. Yeah, not good sign. I don't know why it is not. It's well, it is going quite a lot, right? Then if this is a lot, right? Then here we see that for the side, it does essentially the same. So you see, and then for the diagonal, you see when there is a transition, when we are like, where is, yeah, from here directly to the diagonal, yeah, the transition actually, it grows a lot. Yeah, so this sounds kind of dangerous. It doesn't look correct to me. I don't think it has anything to do with the absolute, because this will just make yeah, the bone on going the other direction, right? So yeah, now I remember why this in part I know why, is because I want this value to always be negative, because it relates to at least the frontal bending here and the side bending. And okay, so now I'm gonna use this, but this doesn't sound good. This shouldn't be that high. It really remembers what the addition does. And I cannot just get this formula and multiply the whole thing, because that would affect everything. But okay, maybe this works. Still, might still be better than an addition. So now we need to pick this Y location of the delta bone left, right? And we need to use that instead of the direct rotation, because now what we made is that we combine two axes through a driver. I do not know how to do this through bone constraints. Maybe it's not possible. Need some geometry nodes, bone constraint, maybe to do this kind of operation, or some scripting. So it's like now we are combining literally the product of two rotational axes of the same target bone, the mechanism type bone, X and Z rotations, X and Z a plane of rotation. So we are making it into a value with a dynamic, well, this dynamic value here that corresponds to activation, right, of something, right, when even on X, on Z, and on the product when they blend together in some way, right? So maybe there is a min and max. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to implement like mathematical curve that will reduce the amount of strength in the yeah, I barely know how. Maybe the graph edit, drivers editor could add a modifier to do this. Very weird, but sounds feasible. But we'll try to do this. Right now, the helper bone is not doing anything, right? So we're gonna just bring this. Actually, so we're gonna use this bone now for the corrections, and now we can decide where. Okay, we're gonna take this off. We don't need these things. We're gonna now yes, now we can use this transformation, right? Because um, the position of the bone in 3D space is useless in terms of 3D space, right? It's not smart system like a fan helper rig. The fan bone, it does interpret the rotation. It knows omnidirectional, so it knows how to adapt. But here we don't have this system. So fan bones know delta. Unfortunately, they cannot solve entirely by their own this system. As soon as we need to use mini fan bones to do what I'm trying to do with these bones, we might have sometimes to analyze, separate the vertices, the axis, and that, yeah, the axis, and then we start to have the delta problem, which is a nightmare. Yeah. So it's doable, but it's like if it's everything was already hard work, nightmare, now more nightmare. So by doing this thing, we might be able to reduce. Let's just take a look. I'm curious. Maybe we can do something here. Maybe it's not that hard. Um, like it's about modifying the curve, right? So I just don't know where is the. I don't know what is what here basically. Yeah, I find this very hard to see what's the key and what is the handle. Its interface is horrible. I'm sorry, Blender fellows, but uh, okay, looks like there's a keyframe here and a keyframe here. Of course, they are not keyframes exactly, they are driver things. So that means that why I am here, because this is a negative value, right? Sorry. Okay, so this is very small area to be playing with. So this is 0. Okay, so when we this is just one. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Okay, so it's here, right? No? Curiously, there is a pose here where it goes very high. It's not the delta exactly, it's something. It's about here. Ah, look at the leg where it goes. Yeah, because the interpolation makes, yeah, it's like a big X, I suspect. Yeah, giga X value. Yeah, not giga. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of X, right? Some Z, but a lot of X from this. So no doubt that this was doing this is actually because this is like, and then when we reach actually the diagonal here, it's not that much, right? Here it's 0.3, negative 0.3, right? And here is like about negative 0.2, right? So, and we have, as we have here, it's, wow, yeah, it's very small here, doesn't make too much sense. Here is big, here is 0, 0. It should be higher. It's high here because, yeah, a lot of Z. There should be more Z here. There is, yes. Oh, okay. So for some reason here it drops. For some weird reason. This is not reliable, folks. So the thing is like, okay, I don't know, maybe in the interpolation, the mechanism bone is going nuts. Yeah, there is some rotation there. It could be causing this, but yeah, doesn't. It's weird. Anyways, this doesn't mean that this won't work well enough. So I'm still intrigued by. Yeah, but I found out that this is just a Giga X thing, so it's not an X exactly, because then it drops, right? So it's not that important as I thought it would be. It's not that critical. Oh, the delta bone is in the mechanism. Yeah. So many things to. Zero point. Yeah, and what is weird is why here we get way more than like here it should be a lot of X here, but the X alone, you see, even the product, this mathematical thing is garbage, right? It's like it's still a bad technique in terms of organic thing because it doesn't seem like this is accurate. not accurate enough for me at least. So it's not, I thought this was, I knew it was not ideal, but I remember that this worked better than this. So a lot of unconform anomalies, right, that are not easily solvable, right, if I rely on this. Anyways, the thing here is that now we're gonna automate the bone, right? Yeah, I was trying to find if we could add a modifier here to maybe. Okay, my connection failed with Pxy-STUDY. Let's return here. Oh, I don't see the driver spam. So anyways, this will be something for another experiment. It will be very cumbersome. So let's just do the thing here. The transformation. So what you're gonna do here, you're gonna pick the armature and pick the delta bone now left, and you're gonna do this, and then we're gonna map from the location, the Y. It's the minimum. So 0, and here maybe, is that correct? 0.5. I don't know where it. Yeah, it goes to 0.3 maybe. Yeah. So it's maximum value. So it starts at 0, fine, and then minimum 0, and the maximum negative. So it goes to the, and there here we can use the location, yes, to this Y, and we want then one situation when it is, so it's negative, we want -2, so we want doesn't seem to be working. We have a very powerful value here. Why this doesn't work? Okay, I know this is okay. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe it should be this. Yeah. So okay, it's not the Y of the bone, it's the Z. And so we want this. All right, now we're gonna check how this works out. Let's use some markers here. X, Z, and XZ. Right, so what do we need is to assess what the bone does, right? I need to check, yeah, this is not exaggerated enough, so let's exaggerate a little more. All right, 1, 2, yeah, so we see where this this interpolation, okay, if it's exaggerated, of course, this could be helpful, actually, stretching, I don't know, but here it's weird that it negates and then it goes back there for some very weird. Yeah, this is super weird because here we should have now nothing is moving for some reason. Oh yeah, now because now we need the positive, right? Yeah, this one will be negative. Ridiculous amount. I don't know what is happening. Yeah, probably because now the value is negative. So there's more problems to this because, yeah, sometimes because the same bone, automating it from here, automating from there, they get like, they sometimes get the wrong data. They are, it's as if we needed a different bone from both. And then there's, on top of that, there's the delta problem, which can also cause horrid interpolation. So all this analysis thing is, it's actually very, very messy. You have to, it is doable, folks. Actually, what you could do is like, we could separate this bone, like the same bone for the same vertex, not two bones for the same vertex, but they, one moves for one part and the other moves just for the other part. That would help out this. So this is how stupid this analysis is. So I'm not satisfied with any of this thing. This is creepy, and we already, I'm already observing that this is not, yeah, it doesn't sound as efficient as I would have. uh, yeah, this prototype is interesting, but can have it work, but it's not my goal here. My research, really trying to find something that, so I have another solution, which would be orbital pivoting, right? Trying to get some workout from the idea of the helper fan bones, right? And this is about rotation, of course, a ballistic rotation. And if I have a pivoter, so a parent of this bone that is not necessarily the mechanism bone, but that could make it pivot, then I could have the automation in a much more interesting, organic way. So, oh, hold on. I'm remembering one of my last experiments in this kind of thing. Mm, yes, yes. So there is another method. So long I don't touch it that I have. Okay, it's the, maybe it's even better to all this shit is the is the Ikebone constraint helper system. So it's a leverage system, except that in this case, I would use this leverage system with IK bone constraints for the helper or the deformed rig, right? For these bones, they would be affected by this organic-like IK chains on the leg or even on the hip region, hips region. So that would be, it's difficult to build, but maybe it's easier to build now because I'm not trying to solve artifacts. Actually, I'm just trying to do some more organic motion, natural motion of the tissues. And that technique also doesn't care about deltas. It is independent. But I want to first check the possibility of the pivoting. So I'm not sure exactly what to do, but we're gonna see what we can address. So the first thing is that we need to try to map how this bone needs to move in a certain radical pose. So I already know some tricks. I know that it needs to rotate here. Yeah, why not use an action bone constraint? Well, actually, because of the delta. Yeah. So unless there would be a way to get the action bone constraint go smart, the closest I can think about it right now, yeah, we could use the action bone constraint with the driver product thing. Same way I was doing with the transformation bone constraint. But we know that the product now, at least it seems to me that the product of the access is not that reliable. It should be, but it's not. It turns out it's not that simple to get it right. There are more stuff to take into account, so it's very abstract and that doesn't help actually in the kind of result I want, at least, or in my workflow here. So another thing would be, but I don't think we can make blending animation like NLA editor in for an action bone constraint. That sounds crazy because in Blender we don't have animation layers. Yeah, I'm going too far in the. That's a rabbit hole. The thing is that exactly, I don't think that will be the best approach. RBF nodes could solve that smart. Uh, it's a net dawn that is free actually. Not sure if it worked for this version because it's a smart action bone constraint. It uses a node system. Very interesting. But for me, it lagged my rig, so I didn't like for that. Otherwise, I think it's a good idea. A great idea. Okay, so there is the Z, a negative Z, and a positive Y. Yeah, just a little more Z, and so ZY, and that means that the bone that started here, I don't know if it needs to be an arc or anything like that, but thing is, what will make that rotation mechanism is something about, okay, the leg is doing this, and so this So you need to go. Oh yeah. So that I needs to, but it's not exactly a perfect curvature, right? It's doing more like. But let's see. Pivoter somewhere here that needs to invert. Yeah, it's a derotator basically, like the fan bone, right? Instead of derotator of the mesh, is derotator of a vertex bone, which then carries the mesh. So yeah, whatever. Let's try this out. I will place it here for sake of simplicity. So we're gonna, it cannot be parented this way, I guess. Otherwise it can't derotate, so we're gonna parent to the, yeah, and then we're gonna copy rotation, so this will be, yeah, of course the bone roll matters. Um, we'll see what it does then. It's hard to think, but let's see. Okay, so it's going, yeah, it's doing one thing correct, but not everything. So no. Too much, right? But it will be something like that, right? No. Maybe it needs to be offset. It's very weird, but it will always be a, yeah. With the parenting relations, it will always be something like that, right? Uh, which is not good, right? It's a limited motion, right? Imagine I have to do this for every single bone or group of bones, right? It's daunting. Uh, then I'm not really sure if this will work with the deltas. Is it even resetting? Yes. Yeah, so it's doing its job, but this corresponds also to a volume loss, which is dangerous, right? Need to be careful about that. Yeah, my intuition tells this approach here also won't be very interesting. There's already the problem of the fact that the arc is very difficult to plan, and then uh, because it's a parent-child relation, if you wanted to make a different curvature, this is trickier. And then I'm still not sure how this will relate when it comes to a, like for example here, we'd like a different system. But now it has already this parent, right? Not this parent, right? And here it would need, yeah, so the idea is that this system here, it would already do something to the bone that would be everywhere where it matters, it would be relevant. And for this kind of precise anatomic features, it doesn't seem that it would do the job. I think it's too stiff. Certainly, we could do this curvature, it's other methods, but then it's still a rabbit hole. So yeah, it's very frustrating. So I think the best thing right now, I'm not empty-handed yet, left empty hand yet, but mostly I don't know why I messed up this thing now. Looks like we're missing something. I think this bone got no. Oh yeah, it's this bone, of course. No, I already deleted, so I don't know what's going on here. Could be something about, yeah, could be a, probably I deleted the bone and, or because of the, okay, we got this. It's possibly the keyframings also. Here we'll be able to see maybe the I key. Okay, I'm gonna remove the I key. I don't care. Let's go back to the something simpler, right? I'm gonna just reparent here. Maybe not use this mechanism rig at all because it doesn't seem really important. Yeah, let's do something crazy. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this scene. No, I'm gonna, yeah, save copy. Just a backup, just in case. So delete all this junk. Remove this. So the next, not the next, but yeah, the current situation is that all those analytic methods, they seem very counterproductive to me, and this is why I came up to, after a lot of time researching for the IKEA leverage system, IKEA bone constraint leverage system. So I never tried it with this Vertex bone system, and it seems the good way to go. But hold on, I need a break. Be right back. Okay, folks, just thought about something here. That's kind of obvious, but not so much for me. But of course, with this amount, little amount of vertices, we could do these fixes in an analytic way, of course, but more like with corrective shape keys, because yeah, you still have to make delta product. Well, probably you have to make the product, but you know, with the shape key, we don't have to manipulate bones. And this is much easier for the automation, because you have to handle the, you still have to use the driver for, yeah, the product and delta stuff, map the bone that is rotating, but it's much more straightforward because we basically the limb rotates, right? And then we just need to looks like it is some, oh, it's that target. Yes, so this is the thing. Maybe the best approach is the corrective shape key, because you see, it's much faster. We have much easier control than the bones, because so that doesn't mean that we don't need vertex bones, because you still need the vertex bones to do some, to carry the mesh, right? But of the limbs, but you see, the idea is to do the entire fix of the joints through the corrective shape key. Okay, the corrective shape key for this is not a new solution, but the new solution is still that now we are not allowing the skinning algorithm to destroy our mesh. We just want, it's as if we had different separate body parts, but they are all connected. And yes, actually, you know what? This seems even better now. this approach than the leverage system, because the leverage system is cumbersome in the sense of I have to connect all those bones to this leverage system, and it might work smoothly, better than my the other project I have to work on this mesh, but it's still hard to build, and there are some tricky parts when it comes to correcting the artifacts. Here we don't have artifacts. Maybe it's easier, I'm not sure. I will eventually try out, but first I need to try the corrective shape key, because now this sounds very good, because the idea of the corrective shape key is that we have to battle with already the artifacts. But here is somewhat different, and I even have corrective shape keys on sites how profound, which I find it's nuts, but yeah, correcting the correction and sometimes destroying correction all the time. Now let's pick this challenge. And the good thing is that this will allow me to get rid of some. Yeah, to be fair, I don't know what I do with the bones right now, but it doesn't matter because shape keys don't need this kind of bones, deformed bones, right? What they need is, of course. Oh, we're not using this one. Okay. Alright, let's make this this thing at once so that we can. So what does this call? It is the reverse kinematic panel. So here just to find out the this doesn't work, right? Unfortunately, without like appreciation, what no, I want some steepness on this. Okay, that sounds to be positive enough for me, so I'm gonna move this to yeah, we'll do that. Alright, so we're gonna go for the collective shape key or this so reaction. Okay, I'm gonna make a new this this is my the task. So the thing here, I saw in a forum this approach here. Of course, I knew this method, but like the idea of making these 6 keyframes, right? No, sorry, 5 keyframes, right? Could go even further to earlier, but this is enough for now. And you know, in animation, character animation, unless you're doing scientific stuff, it's really not that the curves of the human body needs to be perfect arcs. This is ridiculous, right? All the time, actually, having all the time perfect arcs is horrible because you want to do this just on occasions, right? But when we are always drawing arcs with mind's eye, or even drawing the arcs themselves, sketching them, when making animation drawing, right? So I'm sure this, because of the perspective, because of many things, these arcs are often not a distraction, sculpting the body, exaggeration, stylistic. So you see where it goes, right? So there are a lot of misconceptions of computer graphics that was not really thought artistically softly enough, in my estimation, because otherwise we'd have the tools. We don't have the tools, folks. So it's not Blender's fault, of course, but it is comes before Blender, right? It's already some gap, some bridge. Fortunately, some solutions are popularized and developed further. So now the right thing is to address this problem over organic solution, right? So can't go rationalistic with this stuff, but you need high conception of stuff. Intuition is very sabotage and self-sabotage everywhere in this stupid society, and then of course you don't know then why things don't really work, because like it's the story of the witch, also something about the witch. Folklore, Russian fairy tales are super famous, Baba Yaga, the witch that reappears here in the stories. There's something about trial in one story that I've heard. I heard it's one of that I didn't know, and that relates to the intuition. Right? Okay, so if you're interested, I think I can find it. I'm going to put in the chat this. very good detailed presentation of the archetype of the witch instead of full detail trial. Yeah, I can't find, sorry folks. If you're really curious, I just ask know how to find, but right now it's quite complicated. So let's continue here. So we got this thing. Protect. Let's make the so there's not too much going on here, right? What to expect is just basically we need the deformed bones for the limbs or the limb torso, right? Here we can have regular skinning. We just are protecting the joints for getting artifacts so that we can solve everything like with, for example, why not maybe exaggerate a little more. There's still this thing that we are protecting, the joints from receiving the artifacts. So what we need here is, I think it's that, right? And we need a shape key, and then it's 1, and then that's editing, and then now we can go nuts here because the only thing that matters is fixing the pose. So instead of commanding pose, which actually might sound good, but it's garbage. So otherwise I wouldn't be doing this forever and without actually this. Well, the body shape key would struggle with the mirror modifier, I guess. And this can go nuts, right? That's probably some madness of the there's a way to apply the modifiers with the shape key using extension, free extension that does that quite well nowadays. So the vertex don't rotate, so we don't care. And there is an advantage here that there is little amount of vertices, and so that means that relatively small. That means that we can, as long as we are capable of oh so I think we should go back. I will destroy the file. Another problem with working shape keys is it's very easy to mess up. Okay, this can still be useful, but we need to get rid of it. Okay, so now we go very good. Yes, this way you can see the comparison rate. Proportional moves in here can help. So this of course is not a great idea to be changing the value so much for this, but it's kinda relevant for this skinning thing, right? So here we could have a little more geometry too, but I think we can handle this. There's something there if I can catch. There we go. Ah, this is not helping. So the fact that this mesh has never moved in this pose from skinning algorithm, the part of the hip, right? That is very valuable to make these fixes, because in my estimation, because here we have way more precision. We really know what we are doing. Instead of countering artifacts, skinning artifacts, we have the new possibility here of, oh yeah, this is even better, of fixing those things without suffering from, because you see we have full control here of, well, not really, but we'll still have to see how this will activate and deactivate. So this interpolation is the complicated part that could go wrong. It could go wrong anyways, right? So it's not something that, but in this case it's better, simpler, because the mesh is not moving from the mesh of the leg, yes, but just these vertices of the leg. As soon as it reaches the pelvis region, pelvis bone, right? There is no more to forks going on, unless we pose the torso as well. But since I was rotating there is no blended waves on the joint there. So that means that there is really no relational transform. So it's not whether I rotate the torso or rotate the leg that would cause the skinning algorithm to work in order to cause the artifacts or the rotation of the joint region. It's not working like that here. That means that okay, so this sounds good so far, but I'm not chanting victory, as we say in Brazilian Portuguese, yet, because I'm very wary about the interpolation of because it's linear. I think it will work, but I cannot guarantee. Maybe the results are really good, that we don't, in the sense that we don't see any problem, critical problem with this kind of interpolation, because, but then we might still need a delta, but that's fine, because you see, this is very convenient sculpture in space with, you could use the, okay, we got one, I'm gonna call it correct. I've seen someone doing this, but I like the core. So body, because there's, no, this is 5 left, okay, but you could say 5, that's the per leg, right? Yeah, its leg is 3, so, so we got, actually, 4, 3, 5. So torso 2, 1 will be head, will be another mesh. Arms 4 on the side, and 5 maybe hair, I don't know, ears, 6 usually we use one plot for the parts, but this is just my, okay, so you got, now you have to drive this thing, and of course this drive is ridiculous, right? It's not a big deal. We're gonna get straight to the, yeah, there's a method to do this here, but it's, I don't like it's easy because you do a copy paste thing, copy. Let's try this, I'm not sure. Paste drivers. Okay, no, it's not like that, yeah. So actually, yeah, so it's this thing that's paste driver, then we get this. The problem here is that, yeah, this is garbage, like, it's not for, like, what is, it's ridiculous. Why is they don't put an X here? So this is completely, yeah, it's a vector, I guess. 0, 1, 2. But then you don't know if you're new, someone look at this, doesn't find where's the bone, is this shit. Yeah, there, got it. It is the same shit, it doesn't really help. So what we have here is the rotation copy the drivers, so the same thing, right? So it's very efficient here, I like this, but then you have... Okay, we see the bone, but look at this, it's horrible, right? You can't read, it's not very good. And then you have also this, you don't know what is the... Where is the axis? You don't know, so it's garbage. Yeah. So the best way then would be to be more didactical and more organized, I think. Would be a little slower, we need to do this. Then after you do once, you can just copy paste it. It's now we have to validate the amount here. Okay, so we have problems with the interpolation. It's not really working. I think I messed up. Yeah, of course it's negative. Ah. It's not 100 yet, so it's not too bad. Okay, so that is one. Let's try the other one. No panic. This not this process. It's auto key, so that's fine. Yeah, I don't want this interpolation. Is that a... Yeah, it's because I just want this to come back. Strangely, what happened here? That is quite close again. Okay, because it's here. The foot floating. So now we want this correction here, and then we address the delta and the variant. So we correct, of course there's the back banding, the inner banding if you want, if it needs, possibly needs. So in the end, we could play might need many, but if you want to perfect acrobatic, yeah, I would like that. If needed, I think because this rig is so sensible with the joints, we might need this indeed. And that means there's no rig on the joints from the skin algorithm, so basically not. So we need to do all by keys. But this is favorable in some way, right? Maybe just a little of weights. No, but it's dangerous because as soon as we add weights, we have to have a stiff bone that's just like a head bone that can steal all the weights. So we have, yeah, it's doable, but just to have the minimal use of the skinny algorithm, it will still go in the direction of creating artifacts in this delicate resource. I'm not sure if it will slight deform, slight motion, like who knows if that will really be a good idea. I'm not sure. Not convinced. I think it's too much work just for some shape. I prefer to keep the single method there to shape keys, single technique. So here we're gonna do another one. Okay, but this is negative x, yeah, tie. Negative, no, this is not good. We don't know, yeah. Okay, negative x. Negative z. Now this is positive, now this is negative z as well. Good, and then we have this, and then we have copy driver and paste driver, and then we got edit driver, and then we got z rotation, then we have the, yeah, a lot of that, and then we have the shape keys, and then we can edit. We're gonna lock this to prevent accidents like last time, and then I have to load the file, and now we can edit all these vertices for this kind of radical pose here. And yeah, it is about stretching, and we can go more into this, the hip, yeah, why not. So this is good part, because here we can really go more artistic, all right. Rare, it will be very hard to do this artistic artwork with waves, because yeah, sometimes we can do it, some riggers can find ways to, yeah, even I, but it's not like that. It's they might be fixing other joints, I don't know. In principle, when it comes to this particular complex joint, it's not fun. Not not anyhow, it's not fun. At least in the other methods that I've tried, so it's pure garbage. So there's nothing that saves the day in the end. Maybe this can save the day. That's why I've testing it, and took me 2 days, right, to after years, right, to find out. This was an accident, right? But they're not so much an accident, because I was in the path already of finding solutions, smart solution, or original solutions with shape keys. And this is why this is not an accident that I ended up. I just thought I was gonna take a break, then I just in 1 minute, less than 1 minute, I had this insight. Oh, maybe this is a case of shape key, right? And then there's this shining eyes thing, right? Internally, at least. Oh, this is actually good idea to try, right? To try. Better than maybe what I was about to try, which I already tried, and I knew it was cumbersome. But this is very intuitive, actually, so far. But there we still need to check. So look at this. This is working. Now we are going for the test. Can we make the freaking delta work here for a shape corrective shape keys method? So in principle, that should work. Because you see, it's very easy to manipulate. So in the worst case scenario, I like this method so much so far. So far it's very, because you see, I got this not even needing a mechanism close, because why do you need drawings? Just for the carrying the limbs. You know what was my last another parallel experiment that I was about to try, and then I picked this Vertex bone beforehand, if just that I thought after, but no, let's do this first. The other parallel experiment was something related to this one, the Vertex bone, but different. I was about to split the mesh, the limbs, right, as something like this, right? And try to figure out a way to get true compositing, rendering, and painting, and line art, and like getting the limbs intersect with like a lot of clippings, right? So I'm gonna close the window because it's night out here. It's late. My God, too loud. Okay. So, and then trying to avoid joint rigging and do the ballistic rotations of the limbs without struggle, and try to fix stuff like like simplified shapes that would clip, right? But the clipping, I will try to get them work with to the help of shading, right? And compositing, rendering methods, grease pencil, line art, that are very dangerous. It fail a lot, but I think this has potential. But this sounds now more like I don't like splitting the. Here's because of the shape key. It's not necessary, but yeah, to this point it's not necessary. But it's that because then you have a sound of shape keys. They need to. We have folder. No, it's still not implemented. I think it will be implemented. I think I saw something about this. Probably last because I'm presenting. Okay, now let's go for the delta. Right? So here is the delta that we need to find out the pose of the ball. So yeah, we're gonna transit directly to it. So the only thing that I would need to fix here for this bone to follow up here in arc is some sort of dynamic multi-posing that would make it rotate properly. But you see, I think it's funny. Yeah, this is not funny though, but I think there is a way. Yeah, I can grab the final position, right? But I can't make the fine interpolation position. But, what did it take to have this? Oh, you see, this bone is actually helping a lot because you see, we can get the tail of the bone to be favorable, but we can create a bone at the tail that will serve as a, we call it a mapper bone. And you see, this is some script, but like for me, this sounds actually much better than some workflows that I would call, you know, newcomer animators, because I animate since I was a kid, so that's why I did the flip book animation. Like a lot of animators, they start as kids doing flip books, like I did. Also pixel art in old software computer, like pixel art animation, right? On paintbrush-like softwares that could have some animation hit the timeline. Actually, this is no. There are still problems there, but if I know the amount, this is just then. You can see some problem in the foot. Yeah, eventually that happens. But okay, whatever. See, it's a lot of waste of time. We need to find a way to get this curvature done without baking. I know baking can help. There's a add-on that can. I even have it here, but I was testing. It bakes. It cannot keep an interpolation as is. Yeah. No, thanks. Because when you see the baking, then you have a lot of keyframes, but it's destruct. It's horrible. It's useful, like you need to deliver a shot, a scene, then it's practical, but workflow-wise, I hate this. Because we're using a software that is supposed to make automation, good automation, or the baking, yeah, it's an automation also if you bake, but then it destroys the automation. And then the cool thing about the automation also in the software like that, it's adaptive. When you bake, you destroy the one of the only main reasons why we are doing 3D animations is how stupid this thing is. It's like going backwards to fix problems that, of course, that are limits of the certain structures of this, right? But that's it. That's why I think I hate the idea of baking so much, because then the automation starts to become only bad stuff. Like sometimes I even think, maybe I should just animate like in full keyframes, right? In stepped interpolation, right? In Blender. Okay, let's do the. This is not the pose that is the one that I want, right? Oh no, it is sort of, but we're gonna exaggerate a little more. Yeah, I changed all the. Okay, so now we have some idea of delta here. At least is the main bone, right? So we see what it is doing. A lot of X, some Z. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do a little more. I don't know how to get this. Maybe with this. Okay, we're gonna go this way. What's happening here? I don't know, so I'm gonna just. Oh yeah, so it's and here we have a part. First time I did this thing with this mapper bone here with this case. I'm not satisfied really, but it's interesting, right? Anyways, there should be a better way. So anyway, now we got this. Okay, so you see the pose. Let's see the shape keys. I'm curious. I didn't make any product here. Yeah, but it's not very clean, so you see they still apply, but we have to counter. So this is dangerous, right? But less dangerous because it will be a corrective. I think this. counters are still active, so this is dangerous because it's what we get. So if we need to fix something here, then we have to change here. So yeah, and at least it's not too hard to fix. So I think I'll give it a shot. Continue doing this. So I think we're getting it right. We can use also this. Yeah, also need to know which vertices we are mainly manipulating. What needs to look good, of course, but it's good that we have a map of them properly so that we don't exaggerate. We have some consistency when we need to fix stuff. So, for example, moving these ones and maybe never move them elsewhere. So you see the idea of the delta, it's very small, but this it's strange because I'm not sure what I'm doing in the final, because yeah, this is the total thing, but I don't know what. Yeah, it is strange to. I really don't know. I'm afraid that the final pose is being built way beyond the drive here. It's very hard for me to check it, but I think, yeah, because there are a lot of things going on, so I don't know which direction I'm manipulating, and now we cannot change the value because it's already driven. But the good thing is that, at least for what concerns the pose, this super mixed pose between three corrective shape keys, right, alongside with the pose that already exists there without the shape keys, of course. This stuff at this point is looking good, so this is a good indication that we are going in a good direction. And to be fair, maybe the corrective shape key, I don't know, I tried corrective shape key a long time ago with an armature deform rig alongside, yeah, I wasn't I was shocked with the complications that this combination of deform, both because solving the artifacts, right, with shape keys, it's not that simple, because the artifacts go nuts. There are volume loss, when you go back. Here there's no volume loss, there's no artifacts going on, so this is why this is much more easy to develop something, yeah. So, of course, with a lot of patience and other strategies, we can do the same thing here to normal. I would say the shapes are great, but it sounds. What I'm concerned now is that if this thing is ruining certain pose, or making it slightly worse when it is activated, like in some amount of, yeah, also we don't know all the interpolations. Why it's not updating? folks, so this, yeah, it seems, yeah, it seems correcting itself. Yeah, this, okay, folks, so this is the result after 2 days. The this thing, there's still something very ugly here. You see, maybe it was not that ugly on that pose, but it's, well, yeah, it could be better in this pose indeed. Yeah, I need to have a multi-vision here because to assess the sculptural shapes from various angles and see if stuff are working right. And so I think this is very not cartoonist. It's actually pretty good, but with the deformed bones, really, yeah, I use the delta, but it sounds okay. But this is not sufficient yet because for this pose, 3 radical pose, it was sufficient. And to be fair, this was the easiest things that you see. I'm concerned about this. The subdivision surface modifier is handling this, but we might need to make a delta here, or not a delta, but because we don't have this pose, right? But we need something that would be this extreme here. Yeah, probably need this extreme corrective. So you see, we need this. We sort of have this one. It could be improved. Each pose could be improved, but we might need oops, okay, keyframing. Okay, let's so we might need, yeah, it's all the directions that we might need something for this, might need something for this. So we have this one, it's on the way, so maybe when you have this is on the way, so we need that, probably this maybe we need, like, it's inner, it could be that we need, when this leg goes like this, we might need some slight correction here, I'm not sure, but then we might need, of course, we have this one, it's delta already solved. Then we need this delta here, that it will be when the leg is the opposite of the frog pose, right? Of the delta here. Yeah, it's the inverse, right? Like a ballerina pose, right? Very hardcore pose. It's a delta, because in this case we will also need the back bending pose, something like positive 120 degrees, 130 degrees, I guess this is only 90 degrees backwards, something like here it's too much, but 145 degrees, so just for, I think this will be good for exaggeration. So I already have made this calculation, and then maybe we'd need also some same thing, like inner bending, something like this, because when the leg again it goes in this direction, there is the possibility of inner bending. So you see, it will be, let's say there's one shape key for inner, maybe one is enough, but let's assume it's just one for now. And so we need one here, two, so 1, 2, 3, and then for here, one that for the inner. So 4, we need 4, and we made 3. We've made 3, we need more, at least 4 more. So this would solve, because it can be symmetrized, right? Fairly easily. This solves the most complicated, yeah. But it's not over, because there is something yet in this rig that is the torso that I still don't know how I'm gonna do it, because my bones are these ones. So I want to maintain it consistent, but the torso doesn't suffer. Like, there are joints, of course, but it's not usually it doesn't suffer from these radical artifacts, because the rotations of the torso are more like, it's a limb that is more segmented, let's say, like this. It's not a hardcore rotation on the ball bone joint, although the vertebra, yeah, they rotate, but it's a specific thing that usually you don't see horrid artifacts along the spine, as we see on the shoulders and hip thigh joint. You sometimes see horrid artifacts in the neck region, sometimes in the bottom neck, sometimes in the upper neck, and of course in the wrist and the ankle, which are intermediate joints for me. So yeah, so neck, upper and lower neck, intermediate, wrist and ankle, and intermediate joints. Then knee and elbow, these are the simplest. Usually they can be complicated. Actually, knee, elbow, and the knuckle joints of the phalanx and of the between the fingers and the metacarpals, the phalanx and the metacarpals. So these knuckles and these are all simple joints. The maybe the thumb has the metacarpal thumb. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's more like yeah, all the metacarpals actually they'll be more like intermediate joints, but they can move in all directions, in all orient, yeah, sort of. They might even twist, but usually the thumb I think is the more complex one, so would be the closest to an intermediate joint. Uh, they can be treated mostly as simple joints, even the thumb, but yeah, it's not so easy to get good thumb deforms actually. Like, you need to, the model needs to be accurate. So something that I'm still researching, but it's still certainly not something as, it's not like an so much about artifacts. It's more about the shape, but then it's shapes. Okay, anyways, folks. So we see that these methods, actually the vertex bone, where I'm using the vertex bone actually, I'm not really using it, because at this point, you know what we could do here? What we could do is, I don't know what these things are. We have some, I think I'm keyframing something here that is incorrect. Or I have, no, it's just because of this, all right? So we're gonna reset the pose here. I'm gonna merge those vertex groups, because my original idea was to be able to control these bones and control the mesh to get muscular deformed stuff like that, and of course correct artifacts or solve shapes, right? But without artifacts in this case, but still complicated to solve shapes. But nowadays, just now I figured out that the corrective shape key methods on particular this non-artifact generating rig, for the most part at least, is actually very accurate. It's still not negligible work to solve for each but it's very elegant at this current moment. So I have an operator here that's I think I'm gonna use here. Let me check. Okay, so you see these bones, they don't move with here. If I were to move these bones with here, we have a very different situation. So I prefer, it's doable, but I prefer to maintain the stabilized with the things. So what that means is that we can actually, since I don't want to manipulate these bones, I don't see need for extra work of automating them. We're gonna join them to maybe, yeah, let's start with this. I never know where to find this merge bones. I think it's broken, yeah, sadly in this version of Blender. Or maybe I need to update. It's an extension, checking for extension updates. Yeah, there's a lot of updates. Okay, I'm gonna update Bone and Vertex merge. Okay, there's an update here. Yeah, sorry, I don't see my panel here right now, but the name of the extension is Bone and Vertex Group Merge. Merge selected bones in the active bone, so it's precisely this thing here. Don't know where to find it, so I need to search. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere, so it's maybe it's here somewhere. No, so whatever. Maybe it's in the. Yeah, whatever. So armature merge. Where's the armature? Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, and it's still bugged. So unfortunately, we'll have to. Do I even need this? I don't need it. So I'm gonna make bone here that is the hip. Always we can merge vertex groups, but yeah, my supply is about this bugged, right? So we just don't need this, but we still need their vertex groups, right? And the problem is that I don't know if we can find a way to merge them from here. See, for example, we can multi-select, right? Yeah, there's a there is this method here which is pretty, it's very hard to understand. Then you have to apply. It's just two bones. And, I don't have. Okay, I don't have bones now, but I have vertex groups. So we're gonna think it's not this one, it's the no, Vertex with mix. It's super complicated to get it right without a guide. So it works. Yeah, it's tricky. So I think we have. Let's start with the clutch back. Wait, don't I have the clutch? No. Okay, let's start with the hips then, and we're gonna do front, and we're gonna add, okay. In this case, that seems to be working before the other modifier. Of course, it's a simple case, right? So it's okay. I'm gonna duplicate here, apply. That transforms the hips. Apply. Now we see what I'm doing. This is not. Oh, here we go. I see that. Yeah, this is so boring. It's easier to do by hand. Yeah, this is. But in this case, it works. Right? Okay, never mind. We're gonna. Yeah, so this without the mirror modifier, because we always correct to put this, at least we have a few words to care about. So this is not so. And you see how the wave paint is. It's ridiculous. So that is kind of. It could have. Just do something like that before. I used to rely too much on the hero modifier, right? So that's why for me it's a disaster not to have it available. Do we need the deformed bone? Okay, I'm gonna look for all that is step 2 because I think we don't need anything else except the hips for now. Then for depth 3, yeah, I know we're gonna just maintain the foot. Because yeah, this will create big havoc in our this is, instead of separating the leaves, what we are doing is that we are creating yeah, we need the bone for, yeah, we're gonna use this one. Maybe it's got 3 I left. Symmetrizing and I could have to use the yeah, this is great. Blender is getting better over time, or even for rigging, something that can be expected. Yeah, so very, very refreshing to have this. So, okay, so here now we need to. Oh, I have right. Not this one. We can select by bone type, unfortunately, so. So yes, we are totally. I need to make it more involved. I think it's a bit groundbreaking for a lot of people. Don't you agree? Like a fellow scriptwriter says, don't you agree, gnomes? This is Rivera. Legend so yeah, here this and why don't we... Oh no, this is... Where's my bones? Well, it's like I destroyed some control bones, right? This is bad. Yeah, no, so let's recover them up. I don't remember if it's connected or... Well, I have a backup, just can try this out. This could be a problem now, because the rig is different now. We don't have the same system, right? I need to be careful right here, because maybe I'm getting the... I have to test this out. Okay, I think it's connected here. And there might be... No. It's... Yeah, this is... This bit offset, right? Okay, this is right. Yeah, so moving this bone, I'm not sure now, because we don't have waves for these bones, for good reason. We could have still, but no, this is... Yeah, we'll have to make some experiments, because we're not having blended waves here. It's a different approach to rigging, organic rigging. So here, of course, what we need is just to wave these bones here, that is vertices again. And copy, duplicate, and mirror topology. There we go. Vertex. I don't know what the hell is this. I do have all these amount of vertices. Merge vertices. No extra vertices to do, so okay, and then we have alright, but why do we, of course, because there are no weights. Yeah, we just did. Yeah, we need to do more. Ah, now it's trying to even though a new modifier, okay, but one here. Ah, it's wow. It's doing this even without a little modifier. Is that really? Yeah. I thought this was a maybe they did this. I haven't saw any news about this. So this is very well. Maybe it's just this thing. I don't. It's unclear for me because I was pretty sure it didn't have these facilities that way with the. So this will, if that, anyways, good finding. So it's working just as if I had a mirror modifier. So that means that I don't need to use the mirror modifier for this. Then we can rely. It's better for the shape keys. Okay, so now we need to address the foot. The foot is already there, so there's nothing else to do. And so now we can. So should I really have this separated form? Actually, maybe I should do this by the end, and because the thing is that yeah, but I'm not finished modeling, so modeling without the modifier scraping, so but it can work too. Yeah, it can work with that, but I think it's more beneficial. Prefer to make it work. So I'm not gonna merge the head yet, and to simplify some work here, I understand that. Anyways, now we can test the again. What's going on? One of the animation was lost. Okay, here we go. So now all the this is the wave fade that we got, folks. And look at this. Can you believe this? How did you wave in this? Look, I just I had this this. What is it? Body? No, it's a shape key. Yeah, I don't think it just in case I don't know for the center or yeah, let's leave it like this. What the hell? So isn't that incredible, right? That you can do that in Blender. It's with just this stupid, ridiculous amount of weights. Now we have a proposal here. I think this is groundbreaking. You won't find any tutorial on the internet addressing this. And look at the quality of this. Of the deforms of the most complicated droid there is. and corrective shape keys, but no, attention, it's not just corrective shape keys, it's the wave paint, it's the, so it's not Vertex bone anymore, it's Vertex group bone. No, it's not correct. I don't even know how to call it. There's a relation between the conceptualization of shape keys, so it would be constant blocky waves it's complicated to describe, not to describe, to title this experimental method. It's the limited waves, yeah. Morphine limited waves. Morphine with limited waves, yeah. That's corrective morphemes, corrective shape keys with limited waves. Yeah, that's closest. Yeah, this is ludicrous. Of course, remember that this is a low point, but now we're not using the Vertex bone setup. I'm avoiding to get the artifacts, the skinning artifacts. So you see, they made all these complex skinning algorithms for nothing. These idiots, and they're still using them. It's unbelievable. You can get okay, without. But this is 30 pros, quality info. So here we go. This is we cannot say it's mainly driven by shape keys method. It's a combination. You can see shape keys are bad at making the arcs for the. So what does that mean is that I can't make, it's very hard, it will be incredibly hard to get it would be incredibly hard to get this motion of the leg rotating through a shape key. Right? So the ballistic rotations are done with the bow, the armature deform method. But the joint sweep is fully done, most fully done with the corrective shape keys. So I'm not merging as they're used to. We are used to learn. So I'm not generating artifacts, skinning artifacts. It's just the mesh that is crudely non-moving, and then it just moves through nothing else, nothing more than corrective shape keys that they are not correcting artifacts, they are actually correcting the shapes, the pose. So it's not, you're not, yeah, it looks like artifacts for good reasons, but it's not artifacts. So it's, the verts are never moving on this, so that's it. Yeah, so it still requires some improvement, right? We have more poses to make, or more this one delta, but the results to be fair, this is the best method I've ever with the character on complex forms. This needs to be popularized. So this is, I haven't totally checked. I'm a bit wary of the interaction with the, but you see, that seems plausible that there won't be anything wrong with that, right? Same for the, it seems that everything, here we need a corrective one, this corrective should this. This will be very straightforward. This was, yeah. So because I was able to achieve this one with very good results, actually, very accurate results, I think it will be very likely that the other one will be just as easy to solve as this one. So this is a complete victory, strategic victory. And this is a victory on a war scale, that not a battle or two, no, this is an entire war victory for my estimation of what's going on. And I will, okay, I'm going to, because maybe they are including this idea of this, we're gonna join the whole thing after, because I want to make sure that it's easy to model. Where's my the head is not selected. Okay, we need to apply here as well. Because I need, it's easier to manipulate the mesh here for the character design, also for skinning, but now the skinning will be different because realize that GG, let's see, because I need the shape here, right? It is locked, right? Just in case. Yeah, I'm gonna invest into it. Maybe I messed up something. Yeah, changing the topology here would have worked, but it's a work in progress, so it doesn't matter. Let's see what we can do here. Got a problem here. This, yeah. In the end, I can fix this, make sure it is perfectly symmetrical, but yeah, this is why I didn't want to destroy the mirror modifier as yet, right? The topology here really, it can be different because don't need to rig these joints in the conventional way. It counts not just for the hip thigh or complex joints, it counts also for this kind of joint here for the neck. We are more like looking for good shapes instead of, and now even the amount of vertices with this method, it doesn't really care. It's not even important because we're not using the vertex bone anymore. And it's crazy, so we can use this, yeah, and we have to manipulate more vertex with the shape key, but it's doable. I don't know what's going on there. It's just bad pose here, I guess. Yeah. It's getting better and better, right? So, okay. Yeah, this. So that means that we can improve the. Still for the face, I would like to limit the amount of mesh, but who knows? For now. I don't know what I do with this one. Oh, like this. Okay. I hate this double problem. So there's a way to. Wait, what is this? This is going. I moved this one, right? Yeah, now this is not there. So I'm gonna just separate. Still, we can. We're gonna separate again. There's something about force symmetry, but this is more likely. This will be at least. I think this is more reliable. The other operator down is going nuts, so this is systematic, right? It's constant development of the symmetry, so it will help me build this in more parts. Yeah, some shapes here probably because why? Oh yes, something like this. I need to revise this geometry here. It's really work in progress. I was trying to limit the amount of vertices so to make it more economical, also for shape keys, LED, facial rig. So you see there are a lot of things that are going towards shape keys, and it's a big change because I used to hate the shape keys for good reasons maybe, but I was certainly underestimating how good they can be if you survive them. So ideally, if they could really be groundbreaking because then the shape keys will be able to be twice better, twice more efficient, all that, right, than they are today. And that will be very important, I think. But it's not, slowly they are improving, but the most important things in my estimation that we need to be with them to improve, these things are not common, I think. Maybe through add-ons or something like that, but so yeah, we need to remember that the topology here doesn't really matter the same way that it would do for conventional skinning. So it's really about the shapes that I need to care. The amount of vertices that I want to be correctly making the facial expression. So I want to be a bit minimalistic here, but I was wrong about the. Not that I was wrong. The method of the vertex bone was not good enough for me. Maybe it's still usable in certain situations, but for character reading, I think that for this kind of animation, I think it's not that we want good deforms and easily achieved, so we prefer something that is more spontaneous, less analytical, still analytical in the case that you need to make a deltas, but it's in this way that I have very convenient development. So here we could add maybe I don't know how we can stack more of this if we needed, but yeah, this is like you could say that this is good enough for moves. So most people are okay, just some pose like this, which I feel is ridiculous, but yeah, it's understandable because it's really hard. But anyways, now we got really good stuff going on. So this stuff about the pivoting points of the leg is something that I would like to investigate. Okay, I think I got an idea here. It's probably not gonna work, but it's an intriguing idea. Yes, as I thought this would. Why it is not. The bone doesn't activate through the parenting action. Interesting. Yeah, so I would need a buffer bone maybe, but yeah, I'd like to check this, but I need a break. The problem is that with this we cannot hold the foot, yeah, so it's not good, right? It's moving like that. the IT bone constraint. Okay, I auto-IK'd. Okay, so I have this creepy parenting, and we can't do anything now with the but the bone arcs. Yeah, so if I turn on the auto-IQ, then we have the pivoting, of course, is crazy. This gives a very weird combination. So trying to understand. Okay, yes, so the plan is even good to work, but not like this one. Yes, so it's the thing is about dynamic pivot of the let's try a yeah, okay, that's but it just works for this pose, unfortunately, because we can't bring the good, but then as long as we start getting this, then we need to start losing the pivoting points, right? We had some weird stuff, so in a case like this we need to change the how is it that it needs to work? Yeah, we need something like that goes back to Bezier, then this one it needs to actually it's this one. No, it's this one. Then will be actually no, this is doesn't need to be constant. We don't need to change it, so one less problem for now. And then we can again keyframe this, and then we can pick new frames here and changing the so now I'm not sure what's going with the forms, but doesn't matter the skinning, but and what is this warping? I think something probably foot that got yeah, here I'm just doing some crazy okay, this, well, it would be interpolating properly, but I think I moved this bone, yeah. Maybe need to start there. Yeah, this is very intricate, so it's better not to even try this, adding extra bones, because unless there's some automation for this, it's better to do manually if we wanted this. Still, I'm investigating. This thing I think only will be solved entirely when we have the expanded AutoIKey project for Core Blender in by fellow Paul Hanson. You can find the information, but it's going at a slow pace, unfortunately. His guy's doing it for like for the community, like not being paid for it. So it's it'd be great if there could be investments, because what he's doing is, I think it's truly important. But that's something that is really being realized by I think, well, it is, but I think it's not being valued. This is the kind of thing that it's doable, and it needs ideally you would need some resource, and it would need to, yeah, so if the Blender Foundation, or they could invest in this kind of content, that would be the good thing. Okay, this is not going well, because my interpolation is not working apparently. Okay, so I prefer this method here. Anyways, I have to find out what is happening there to the that is ruining the skinning. It's the auto IQ, of course. These bones shouldn't be posed apparently. Yeah, so it's a dangerous bone actually, and maybe we don't need it in this rig. Yeah, it is too much, so you might just use this. It will just cause problems apparently with the posing. Yeah, I think this is better. We have less control, but it's a control that we cannot really control the skinning from there, from that bone, so it doesn't really matter at all. It's just an extra control bone. Here we have enough controls for what we need apparently. Yeah, so figuring out how to, and we can still do something like this, right? So it's still, yeah, we can actually solve the pose in some tweaking ways. So this is a very interesting technique for animation. It's like the tweaker bones, but tweaking for solving cloth rigging, cloth physics, all that. Yeah, so it's important to have, so this would be a good reason to have some vertex bones in a low poly mesh especially, but I think we have a good controls here, except for the lack of the floating feet that have the problem of the difficulty following the ankle, and but more grievous than that, I think, is the lack of circular interpolation that we could get. This is something that is critical, but we can do it, right, with that other technique, right? This technique here, right? It's never will be perfect, but it can really, you can get the job done and get rid of a lot of trouble with this mechanistical conceptualization, right, and development of the IKF key switch snapping. I think the guys, it's not their fault, but whoever, I think this comes from Maya already. People who made this conceptualization, they don't really understand animation, because if they understood what animation is about, at least from my point of view, they would never dare doing something that crude. They would, in terms of spontaneity. But I have a background of animation going back to childhood, right? So I'm attracted. That is very spontaneous. So this is why coming to 3D, it's arid. It's very arid. Well, it's been very arid, including in Blender. That's why I am very negative about those these techs, right? Because like maybe CG is there for 20 years or so, or more. Yeah, more than that, of course. It's older than me, but let's say that 3D animation, yeah, it could be like most things that came up more I was already an animator when things start to become more attractive. Like I'd say mid-90s, let's say mid-90s, I was already an animator, so they might have so they've been, people on this domain has been working on over the same structures over and over again, but I've been in the animation for a while. I wasn't struck me that we are in 2026. It could be 2020, it could be 2010. Well, maybe 2010 will be forgivable, but at this point, I think it's barely, it's very hard to comprehend logically also, because it's very irrational. But anyways, folks, when something here we come up with a solution that is more rational to this skinning issues, right? And also for the control group issue that with experimental. Yeah, this is well known, right? I found some ideas about this in Blender Artist forum, but I already knew the technique, and I mean keyframe, multiple things. So there's a pattern that can be used to make this not so much expensive, and there's no wrong or correct way in this sense, like whatever works for one's workflow. I just think that a lot of people, they don't nowadays, or maybe they don't understand what they're talking about, so they they haven't researched enough, and they don't have the background deeper enough in animation to understand that animation can be way more than what they think that are the magical solutions for making even digital animation, right? This, which come with automatic interpolation. And now the technology is on my side now, because some solutions which are more inventive, more oriented to this, all these spontaneities I've been researching on my own, and looking forward to researching also on the internet, like this guy that made Unreal Engine ephemeral rigging. So this is one approach to this technological approach. Blender I don't think Blender can implement something like this after some research. It's more complicated. It's very specific, apparently, to the interpolation system, and but Blender can do something about it that can grant powerful solutions to the animation inside Blender, in the context of Blender, with some tweaking and some valuable insights and developments like this fellow Hans. And also other people are working on different approaches that are very inventive as well, like this idea we can draw the motion path of the bone so that will interfere with the curves in the keyframes. So all this is very fundamental towards this direction of organic. So I think a lot of shit talk of this is the way to go, this is the technique, but actually when things will change, then all this will be shut down. There'll always be people that prefer this or that school of thought, but yeah, it's good. So someone will preserve the fossils of old techniques, but old tech, but the new tech, I think, is already there. It's just a question of yeah, and this is certainly groundbreaking so far I've seen for the rigging approach. So I'm gonna complete this thing. I'll keep working on that and see how far I can get with this new this old new character. It's a toon version of the character, like more cartoony, and Dorothy, right? Of course. So folks, sorry for the rents, but we have work to do, and this was a very important day. So for me, and I hope for you, this will, if you find something with this new, right, if you explore this technique as well, feel free to message me or comments or Discord, maybe. Yeah, if you have doubts, questions, if you find anything new about that, if you find that this method is actually good for different differentiated for leaking out, so feel free to contact me for more, yeah, if you want to discuss anything about that. So thanks for watching, folks. Take care. See you another day.